The Further is the brand new film from this Insidious franchise, which is its sixth film of the franchise, the first since 2023. And of course, now this franchise has been going on since 2010. This is the first Insidious movie, though, not to have a screenplay credit or a story credit from creators James Wan and Lee Whannell, who both serve as producers, but no writing credits for them. This movie stars Amelia Eve as Gemma Hall, who is a mother of a daughter, Maya, played by Eileen Austin. And she is now raising her daughter in the house that she grew up in. But she discovers that she now can do astral projection, but it's even more impressive, I guess, than the other films, because in this movie, she has a power that can possibly bring what's in the further into the real world and what issues that causes for her, her family, her daughter, and everyone around the situation, including the people in the further. Lin Shaye returns as a favorite of the franchise, Elise, who is trying to help things out in the further as she died at the events of the first movie. We also have Brandon Pereira as Nick, Gemma's boyfriend, and Maisie Richardson Sellers, who plays Claire, someone who helps Gemma communicate with Elise in the further. The film is PG-13, excuse me, and is an hour and 46 minutes long. I'm Max Sinenberg from Max Talks Movies. We're talking Insidious, Out of the Further. And just want to give you guys some clarification. This week, I watched the Insidious movies for the very first time. Had never seen any Insidious movie until 2 weeks ago, and I binged all five Insidious movies leading into me watching Out of the Further. So I don't have nostalgia for this franchise, but again, I am someone who, even though I don't love the majority of the films on this in this franchise, really, only three of the movies I like, three of them I don't like. I'll say that. I'll do a ranking video very soon. I'm still a fan of the franchise, the lore, the world building. So I was not that pumped for Out of the Further because I really did not like the last two entries in the franchise. But who knows? Let's see if a breakaway, some new voices in the franchise, can that help? And I might be more positive than most. I really enjoyed Insidious Out of the Further. I think this is a really good rejuvenation or re-energizer for this franchise. Not saying that this is the best film of the franchise, not saying this is breaking new ground in the horror genre, but I think this is a very satisfying, insidious movie experience. I found this film to be very enjoyable. I think it's the scariest Insidious movie since the first one. And I think this movie, yes, while like other Insidious movies relies heavily on jump scares, this movie does a really good job misdirecting particular jump scares or where particular characters are going to pop up. And there's definitely a sense of dread that is in this movie that is not in the rest of the franchise. This movie, once a particular set of characters are introduced in the beginning of the film, the whole movie has a depressing dread over it, but I would say it's in a good way, not in like, this is such a depressing, boring watch. You just feel like something off is happening inside of Gemma from the beginning until the very end of this movie. And I think that's a very unique experience because the majority of the franchise, the person doesn't realize they can astral project, they think they're in a dream, and then later in the movie they realize the powers they have. This movie, you kind of understand what's kind of going on, but also it's more of the feeling of not knowing how to fix this issue. And I think that's also a very unique additive into the franchise. I think the cast here is also very strong. Amelia Eve as Gemma is very good in this movie. There is a generational aspect to the Halls in this movie. What happened with Gemma's mother, now what's happening to Gemma, and what she doesn't want to have happen to her daughter Maya. And I think the generational aspect I think does work in this movie, and Amelia Eve is very good. Lin Shaye is always the MVP of these movies. She's always been the best character of this franchise. So when she gets involved in this film, the film feels like it's a lot more electrifying than it is. I also really like Nick and the Gemma dynamic. Claire, also a cool character where she can actually communicate somehow with Elise in the further. I think that's actually a really cool character to have in a franchise like this. And I think this is also one of the most memorable villains that we've gotten in the Insidious franchise, where you get backstory, lore, plus a really cool look. I actually really enjoyed it. So it might be my favorite villain or entity that we've gotten in the Insidious franchise. And again, as someone who's an Insidious fan now and was in the theater with a lot of other Insidious fans, it seemed like this was just a very fun movie that gave you scares, thrills, also added some more lore and dimensions to the franchise. Now, as I said, it's still not a great movie. None of these movies in this franchise are that great. There's two major issues to me in the movie. The first one is the movie wants to establish that when they were kids and when Gemma was growing up, she was very afraid of her mother. And in this movie, you see in the trailer, she is fearing that with all the things that are going on with her and the power she has, that her own daughter is now being afraid of her. That's a really cool, interesting story that this movie never really touches on. It touches on it in like one scene in a back and forth dialogue scene between Gemma and Maya. But other than that, it just feels like thrown in there. It could have been the key centerpiece of the movie in the second half of the film. It doesn't really do that. I think it's honestly the biggest waste and the biggest missed opportunity in Out of the Further. The other thing I did not like in this movie were just the established rules kind of come out of nowhere. Meaning, there are times in the movie where something needs to happen, but we need to insert a new rule and a new power set in order for this event to happen. And while I think the rules and the new lore that they add are interesting, they do feel more like plot conveniences than actually interesting, authentic ways to put them in the film. It feels like we need Gemma to do this to a particular character, so let's give her this power at this time. It just feels out of the blue, not really authentic, and just more as a plot convenience. And as I said, does the movie rely a lot on jump scares like the other Insidious movies? It does. They're very obvious jump scares when there's no score. There's literally a lazy jump scare scene where the character is here, the camera goes here, there's no one there, the camera goes here, there's no one there, and then poof. You've seen that in a billion other horror movies, and this franchise does it more than most other horror franchises. Always really annoys me. But as a whole, I really enjoyed Insidious Out of the Further. I think it's a pleasant surprise. Is this a great movie that's reinventing the genre or taking this franchise to the next level? No, but I think when you're coming off of two bad movies, in my opinion, this franchise needed a good movie like Insidious Out of the Further. I think it delivers it. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. I'm going rock solid 70% for Insidious Out of the Further. What are you guys' thoughts on this movie? Let me know down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to Max Talks Movies, and I'll see you guys in another video very soon.